The morning of the hearing, my father looked pleased in a way that made my skin crawl. He stood outside the courthouse in a pressed gray suit with my brother beside him, both of them pretending the day had already gone their way. I walked toward the doors alone, carrying only a slim black folder under my arm. When my brother spotted me, he laughed so hard several people turned. "Lose your lawyer?" he shouted. I smiled. "No." He glanced around. "Then where is she?" "I don't have one." His grin widened. My father gave me a pitying look. "You should have accepted our offer, Mira." I kept walking. They thought this hearing was about intimidation. It was about revealing what they had spent years hiding. 3 months earlier, my grandfather, Daniel Vale, died at 91. He was not famous, only stubborn and brilliant, a man who built Vale Farm Supply from a single barn into a company that fed much of the region. When his estate was opened, everyone expected the usual arrangement. My father, my brother, and the men in our family who assumed they were owed everything. Instead, Grandpa left most of it to me, the shares, the land, the lake house, the charitable foundation he had been funding in secret. My father called it unfair. My brother called it suspicious. Within a week, they filed suit, claiming Grandpa had been manipulated in his final years, as if I had twisted a dying man's will. They chose me because I was the quiet daughter, the one who took notes, made coffee, and let other people speak over her. The courtroom filled quickly. Relatives packed the benches. Some stared, some looked away. The judge entered, and the hearing began. My father and brother sat beside Caleb Mercer, the county's most expensive probate attorney. He stood first and spent nearly an hour painting Grandpa as confused, weak, and incapable of making hard decisions at the end. He spoke smoothly, almost kindly, but every sentence was meant to erase my grandfather's mind. A few relatives nodded along. Then he asked to review the evidence from both sides. The clerk handed him my folder. He opened it, and his face changed. He turned page after page, faster and faster, until he stopped at a notarized letter. Then another, then another. The room grew so quiet I could hear the air vent overhead. My brother leaned forward. "What is it?" Caleb did not answer. He looked at my father instead. "What exactly did you tell me?" My father frowned. "About what?" The judge held out a hand. Caleb surrendered the folder and the judge began reading. Grandpa had written those letters over 7 years. Each one was dated, witnessed, and painfully specific. He described repeated demands for money, threats disguised as concern, and their attempts to push him into changing his will. He named my father, he named my brother, he named the dates. Then the judge reached the second section. A private investigator's report, bank records, missing transfers, altered ledgers, unauthorized withdrawals from company accounts, all tied to my brother Ethan. A sound moved through the gallery, half gasp and half whisper. The judge studied the records, then the supporting statements, then the photographs of checks that should never have been signed. Grandpa had known. For years, while my family treated him like a fading old man, he had been collecting proof in locked drawers and sealed envelopes. The judge looked at my father. "Were you aware of these findings?" My father opened his mouth, but nothing came out. For the first time that morning, Caleb sat down slowly, the certainty drained from his face. He knew the case was gone. The hearing ended faster than anyone expected. The challenge to the will was denied. Every part of Grandpa's estate plan remained exactly as written. Outside, the courthouse steps were washed in bright sun, but the air felt cold. Relatives gathered in small, embarrassed clusters. Ethan would not meet my eyes. My father looked older than he had that morning, older than I had ever seen him. No one had the nerve to tell me I was wrong. I held the black folder against my chest and thought of Grandpa at his desk, writing by hand, making sure the truth would outlast him. He used to say, "The truth does not rush, Mira, it waits." Standing there, I understood him. I had not won by shouting. I had won because I refused to panic for people committed to misunderstanding me. They built their case on arrogance, and Grandpa buried it with signatures, dates, and patience. For the first time in my life, I walked away from my family's version of me and left it behind. At the taxi stand, my phone buzzed with a message from Grandpa's attorney. The foundation board wanted to meet me Monday, and the company books were now mine to review. I looked back once at the courthouse doors, then climbed in with my head high, carrying the one thing they never expected me to have: control.